Welcome back to High Stakes. Elevate your game by subscribing to our channel so you never miss our daily content. For exclusive access to our premium betting picks, join our Patreon. Find the link in the comments section below. Stay ahead with High Stakes. The Brewers have been straight-up dominant in the Reds this season, owning them with an 8-3 record through their first 11 clashes. With an average margin of victory hitting 4.1 runs per game, Milwaukee's been showing they ain't playing around. The Reds, on the other hand, were looking shaky last time this rotation spot came up, burning through 6 pitchers just to catch an L at home against Oakland. Talk about a bad vibe heading into the finale of their homestand, which has been uglier than a missed three-pointer in the final seconds. Now, let's talk about Friday night. The Brewers dropping a casual 14 runs on the Reds? That's like a loud and clear message. Milwaukee is ready to charge into the final month and secure a spot without having to mess around with a wild card series. These are must-win situations, and the Brewers know how to handle business, especially against Cincy. Plus, Milwaukee starter, Myers, has been money on the road with a 2.72 ERA over 11 games. He already threw down 7 1/3 scoreless innings against the Reds earlier, so expect him to keep it locked up. Roll with the Brewers on the run line. As for the over, in their first 11 showdowns, the over hit 7 out of 11 times, with the teams averaging nearly 10 runs a game. Milwaukee's sitting pretty with the 5th best offense in the league, dropping 4.89 runs per game, while the Reds are middling at 15th, putting up 4.47 runs. With the Reds likely running a bullpen day, and we all saw how that went last time, 6 pitchers, 9 runs given up to the A's, Milwaukee's offense might just feast. This could turn into a blowout, with the Brewers possibly carrying the over all by themselves. But let's not sleep on the Reds. They'll probably chip in enough to push it over the top. So smash the over. The last time the Cubs rolled into Nationals Park, they got sent home packing, with the Nats taking 3 out of 4. Washington's pitching staff put the clamps on Chicago, holding them to 3 runs or less in 3 of those matchups. Before this current series, the Cubs were struggling in D.C., hitting a cold .218 and slugging just .374 over their last 7 games there. But here's the kicker, the Nationals have been hot at home, winning their last 3 series, including a solid showing against the Yankees earlier this week. And don't let their losing record fool you, Washington's been a sneaky good bet against the spread, cashing in at a 56.3% clip. On the flip side, the Cubs have been struggling on the road, with their pitching staff ranking 21st in ERA away from home. The numbers don't lie, everything's pointing to the Nats pulling off another home win on Sunday. Roll with Washington. Now, let's talk about that total. 5 of the last 6 meetings between these squads at Nationals Park have gone under, with just 21 runs scored during their 4-game set last season. Washington's pitching staff was on fire, posting a 2.50 ERA and a 1.19 whip against the Cubs. Chicago has also struggled to put up runs in D.C., scoring 3 or fewer in 4 of their last 6 games there. Meanwhile, the Nationals have been making a habit of going under, with 4 of their last 5 games at home falling short of the total and 6 of 7 overall. Their pitchers have been locking down opponents, holding them to 2 runs or less in 3 of their last 5. And with both teams sitting in the bottom half of the league in key offensive stats, don't expect a fireworks show. Plus, Cubs starter Taylor has been a thorn in the Nats' side, never allowing more than 3 runs in 7 career starts against them. All signs point to a low-scoring showdown in Sunday's finale. Smash the under. Alright, let's dive into this matchup between the Red Sox and the Tigers, where we've got a couple of starters, Cooper Criswell and Ty Madden, who probably won't be sticking around too long. Expect these teams to turn to their bullpens early, and that's where things get interesting. Since the All-Star break, there's been a night and day difference between these 2 squads on the mound. The Red Sox? They've been struggling, sporting a 5.30 team ERA in the second half of the season, ranking as the 3rd worst in the league. Meanwhile, the Tigers have been quietly dominant, posting a 3.37 team ERA, which is the third best in baseball during that same stretch. That's a serious gap. When you look at the bats, there's also a bit of a divide. Over the last 7 games, Boston's been limping along, putting up just 3.57 runs per game. Detroit, on the other hand, has been a bit more lively, averaging 4.43 runs per game. So, all signs point to the Tigers being the play here. They're at even money, and with how these teams have been trending, Detroit looks like the smarter pick. Back the Detroit Tigers to win. Now, let's talk about that total. These bullpens? They've been up and down. Boston's relievers have been struggling, ranking 26th in the majors with a 4.44 ERA. Detroit's bullpen hasn't been lights out, but they're holding their own, sitting at 12th with a 3.85 ERA. Over the last 30 days, both teams have been seeing the ball well, with Boston posting a .306 BOBIP and Detroit topping them with a .316 BOBIP. That means we could see plenty of balls in play, and with these shaky bullpens, runs could pile up fast. The smart move here is to look at the over 9.5 runs as the better bet. Take the over 9.5 runs. I wanted to ride with the Twins on the money line, but honestly, the value just wasn't there. So, we're gonna up the stakes and roll with the spread instead. Sure, Ober's been shaky lately, but let's not forget he's had plenty of quality starts this season. Plus, when you stack up the bullpens, Minnesota's got the edge over Toronto, and the Twins are the ones with everything on the line. They're gunning for a playoff spot. They've also had the Blue Jays number recently, winning 7 of their last 10 head-to-head matchups. Betting on Toronto has been like throwing money away this year, especially compared to the Twins. I'm chalking up Ober's rough outing against the Braves as an outlier. He's got redemption on his mind, and this is his shot. Go with the Minnesota Twins minus 1.5 runs. Now, let's talk about the total. Neither of these starters has been lighting it up this month, and both teams have been hitting the over more often than not. Toronto's bullpen? Not great, they're sitting at 26th in ERA. The Twins aren't perfect either, but they're better, ranking 14th. Here's the thing, I don't trust either Ober or Rodriguez to hold down these lineups. Toronto's definitely looking for revenge after getting blanked on Friday, and the Twins? They need this game like air. I'm expecting a good old-fashioned slugfest in this one. Take the over 8.5 runs. This matchup is set up to be a classic case of David versus Goliath, but in this case, David might be in for a rough night. The Astros, a powerhouse in the American League, are squaring off against the up-and-coming Royals, but I'm seeing a one-sided affair in this one. Alec Marsh is getting the nod for Kansas City, but he's been bouncing between the majors and minors, and this will only be his second start since July. With a 4.67 ERA and 1.25 WHIP, he's far from intimidating. The Astros lineup has already shown they can handle Marsh, hitting a combined .294 against him with some solid power. On the flip side, Ronel Blanco has been straight-up dominant this season, ranking 11th in both ERA, 3.14, and WHIP, 1.08. He's especially tough at Minute Maid, where opponents are hitting just .179 against him. Given the stats and the matchup, taking Houston on the run line feels like a no-brainer. Pick Houston Astros minus 1.5 runs. Even though I'm backing Blanco to deliver a strong performance, I still expect Kansas City to scratch across a couple of runs. Over the last 14 days, the Royals have quietly been one of the better offenses in baseball, ranking 8th in WRC+ and 6th in WOBA. So, as long as they contribute a bit, we're in great shape to hit the over. During that same stretch, the Astros have been hot too, ranking 7th in WRC+ and 10th in WOBA. They're averaging over 6 runs per game during their current winning streak, and now they get to tee off against Alec Marsh and a Royals bullpen that's been struggling all season, ranking near the bottom in both ERA and WHIP. Honestly, there's a good chance Houston could clear this total by themselves, but I'm confident we'll see plenty of runs on both sides. Take the over 8.5 runs.